At age 7, Arjun told his mother he would one day build the tallest building in the world. At age 17, he told his friends he'd be a millionaire before 30. At age 27, he told himself, just one more year. At age 37, he stopped telling anyone anything. This is not a story about failure. This is a story about the invisible wall that most people never even see. Right before they give up, Arjun grew up in a small town in India. His father was a construction laborer, someone who built other people's dreams with his bare hands, but never got to live in them. Every evening, young Arjun would watch his father come home, dusty boots, tired eyes, silent pride. And every evening, Arjun promised himself, I will be different. He studied hard, got into a good college, graduated with honors, moved to the city. He had the dream, he had the fire, he had the plan. So why, 15 years later, was he sitting in a middle management job, exhausted, unfulfilled, and wondering where it all went? Here's what nobody tells you about dreams. They don't die in one dramatic moment. They don't get crushed by one big failure. They die quietly, slowly, in the everyday. For Arjun, it started with something small. After college, he got a decent job. Not his dream job, but decent. He told himself, I'll do this for a year, save money, then launch my own architecture firm. 1 year became 2, 2 became 5. And somewhere, in those years, something shifted. He stopped sketching in his notebook. He stopped attending architecture meets. He stopped saying one day I will, and started saying one day I might. Psychologists call this dream drift. It's not laziness. It's not weakness. It's the slow, invisible erosion that happens when safety feels better than risk. When the pain of staying the same is less scary than the uncertainty of changing. Arjun wasn't stuck because he lacked talent. He was stuck because every time he stood at the edge of the leap, he found a perfectly reasonable reason not to jump. The economy is bad. I have loans to pay. My family needs me. Next year will be better. And every single reason was true. That's the cruelest part. The reasons are always real. The excuses are always valid. And the dream slowly gets buried under a mountain of perfectly justified decisions. 15 years after graduation, Arjun walked into his college reunion wearing a suit he hated, carrying a business card with a title that meant nothing to him. And then he saw Priya had been the average student. No honors, no scholarships. She'd struggled through every exam. But tonight, she was smiling with a kind of .com that only comes from someone who knows exactly who they are. She ran a boutique urban design studio. Small team, passionate work. Not a billion-dollar company, but hers. Arjun asked her, how did you do it? You weren't even the best student. Priya laughed. Arjun, I was terrified every single day for the first 3 years. I failed twice. I almost quit. But I kept asking myself one question. If I don't try, what story will I tell myself at 60? That night, Arjun drove home and sat in his car for 45 minutes. Not because he was sad, but because he finally understood he hadn't been waiting for the right moment. He had been waiting for permission. Permission from circumstances, from financial security, from other people's approval. And that permission was never going to come. So why do most dreams never come true? It's not talent. Plenty of talented people die with their music still inside them. It's not opportunity. Opportunities exist everywhere. Most people are too afraid to recognize them. It's not luck. Luck is what happens after years of invisible work. The real reason is this. Most people are addicted to the dream, but allergic to the process. We love the idea of the destination. We love telling people our vision. We love how it feels to imagine success. But the actual work, the boring, repetitive, unglamorous, uncertain work, that's where 90% of people quietly disappear. Because the dream feels good. The process feels hard. And our brain, every single day, is choosing comfort over growth. There's another reason. We've been taught to wait for readiness. I'll start when I'm ready. I'll launch when it's perfect. I'll try when I have more experience. But readiness is a myth. No one who ever built something remarkable felt ready. They just started, scared, unprepared, and unsure, and figured it out along the way. Arjun didn't quit his job the next day. He didn't make some dramatic declaration. He just opened his old notebook and he drew not a masterpiece, not a plan, just a sketch of a building that had lived in his head for a decade. Then the next evening, he drew again. Then he started having coffee once a week with a young architect he admired. Then he began taking on one small freelance project, just on weekends. 3 years later, not overnight, he launched a small firm. It wasn't the biggest building in the world, but it was his. And every morning he walked in, he thought about his father, dusty boots, tired eyes, silent pride. And for the first time, he understood that pride wasn't silent at all. It was waiting for him to finally show up. Here's what I want you to take from Arjun's story. Your dream is not dead. It's just buried. Buried under fear, under excuses, under years of wait for the perfect moment that was never going to arrive on its own. The question isn't, do I have what it takes? The question is, what is one small thing I can do today? Not perfectly, just honestly. A sketch, a phone call, a search, a first draft. Because the people whose dreams came true, they weren't the most talented. They were the ones who refused to stop. What dream have you been postponing? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one.